Money isn't the easiest thing to make. No matter what you heard from a financial guru on the internet, it takes time, it takes skill, it takes understanding. And while you're building your finances and making more income, in that point, it may start to get easier. But until then, the best thing to do is save the money that you're currently receiving. I have 5 ways that I believe can help you save your money. And these 5 ways, I've been through all of them. I've done them personally. So I truly believe if you listen to all of them, maybe one of them might just really resonate well with you, because number 3 hits the hardest for me. So let's get into it. On this channel, I like to talk about credit cards. By the way, use the link below, see if any credit cards may fit you. And the reason why I like to talk about credit cards is because for the longest time, I was one of the few individuals who didn't understand how to use a credit card the proper way. I just seen it as a negative tool, like something that couldn't help you but only hurt you. But when you use a credit card properly, it actually can help you in a lot of different ways. And I'm just now starting to understand how to truly use it to its full capability. You have the cashback people and then you have the travel people. It's no difference. I mean, however you decide that you want to redeem them. In some cards, there truly is a difference. But as far as what you are and what you choose to be, like, for example, I'm more so team cashback simply because I don't travel that much. And if I was to travel, it would probably be a very one-off thing. You really have to determine who you are as a person and what you really are into. But if you use these credit cards right, you can get a bunch of cash back and you can get a bunch of points, and you can redeem both, one for just straight cash and another for travel points wherever you want to go, or you could use it for a bunch of different things. It depends on the credit card that you go for and what offers you get. It's basically free money. So if you're not utilizing a credit card, it would be very wise to, of course, do your due diligence, figure out what benefits you gain from having a credit card, but most importantly, make sure you use it right. Pay your balances off in full every month, because all these points and everything that I'm talking about will be useless if you're paying outrageous APR. So make sure you use the credit card right. And if you're not responsible, just ignore this part of the video. Seriously. And maybe you're not the most responsible person with credit cards, but I'm sure there's things in this video that will suit you and fit you, such as cutting your subscriptions. Now, hear me out before you click off the video like, okay, I heard this a million times, but there's loopholes to this. And I don't think enough people utilize it. And I do think that the subscription companies are starting to catch on to it, but you can kind of piggyback off of another individual and basically just password sharing, to be honest. And even if you don't password share, you and a few friends can all have the same account and y'all all just kind of use it, you know, chip in a small amount so you don't have to pay the full amount for subscriptions, because they can get out of hand. And a lot of the times we don't even know we're paying for something because we thought we canceled it a long time ago, but it's still reoccurring and taking out of our bank account. So it's one of those things that you very much just want to make sure that you're paying for what you think you're paying for, because even I fell for this one. And I told you in the beginning, everything that I'm mentioning to you, I had to figure out, okay, I gotta balance this stuff out. So basically I just password share a lot of my subscriptions. I don't pay for a lot of my subscriptions even to this day. And maybe one day that'll change. And if it does, then I have to sit down and figure out exactly the subscriptions that I want to keep and the ones that are most useful to me. And of course, do your due diligence and figure out what works for you, what you need, what you use the most, and what really actually helps you out in your life or gets you through life, you know? So it all depends. And I'm not one of those people to say, cut off all your subscriptions. No, you want to live a balanced life. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say happy, but balance is very important. And I do understand that, because if you're working extremely hard for nothing, it can kind of get to you. So make sure you taking care of yourself the best way possible. And unfortunately, taking care of yourself does have a limit. And this next one is probably for most people, because I fell super victim to this. This one is number 3, what I was telling you about in the beginning, but basically the 24-hour rule. And some people look at this like the 30-day rule. Basically, if you see an item that you want but not necessarily need it, you wait 30 days. That's what most people say, but I look at it more so like 24 hours, because as adults or even young adults, you don't really have that much time to think about getting something. And let's be real, you want it right then. So give yourself 24 hours to really think about if this purchase is worth it, because I see it because I fall for this a lot. I see something I want and I'm like, hey, I can afford it, is in my budget. But in my head, I'm like, do I need it or do I just truly want it? Like I said in the last point, some things are about balance. So ask yourself, hey, is this really worth it? Should I really get it? And then even if you don't really need it, it's like, okay, set it down and give yourself 24 hours to think about it. Those 24 hours are really set with you, and then you'll realize you'll go through your day without it and see if that's truly something you'll be missing. So that's kind of how I go about it. And of course, there'll be some people who disagree and think they need more time. But in this world, time is very valuable. I see time to be more valuable than money, because that's one thing you can't buy back. So 24 hours should be more than enough time for somebody to think about something they want. And if you're still thinking about it after 24 hours, it's probably safe to say, okay, I really want it. And a lot of people fall under the illusion of thinking that you have to use something every day and get your money's worth. But sometimes it don't need to be used every day. If you use it every other week or something like that, as long as you utilize it at some point, I think is a good purchase. So don't get too in your head when buying new things, or even if it's an impulse buy, don't get too in your head, because like I said, life is still about somewhat of a balance. The next one on the list is an automatic savings account. So I'm not gonna lie, I kind of slept on this one because I wasn't really taught about financials too much as I was growing up. So although I have a lot of videos on this channel where I talk about a high yield savings account, I recently started getting very heavily into saving, but I'm in a very good position to where I could save a very decent amount of my income. But I know not everybody is in that position. But if you could save up to 20 to 30% of your income and put it into like a high yield savings account, a 401k, a Roth IRA, stuff of that nature, it'll put you in a very good position in the future. Because when you do that kind of stuff, it definitely compound over time, and you just have money going on top of money. And of course, that's the idea. That's what you want to do. So not only are you saving, but your money is compounding in these areas to where it could be a bigger number in the future. So it's definitely something that you want to look into and do your due diligence and really get serious about it, because we all don't know where the economy is going, but it's not really looking the best. And we all hope for the best, but you just want to be prepared. You don't want to be one of those individuals that's left in the dark and things kind of hit the fan. And if you're in a position where you're not quite making enough to put 20 to 30% of savings into one of those accounts, then try to get in a position, try to work hard, try to build a skill and make more income. That's very important. Making more money is kind of the key to everything. So yeah, start there. And last but certainly not least, track your expenses. I mean, the amount of people who don't track their expenses, who just go out and buy things and don't even look at what they spent. And don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. I don't look at my expenses every day. I look at them more on a weekly basis of what I spent. So I go back and see what I spent, but I don't spend much. So I don't have much to look back at, but there are people who do spend more. And some people have jobs to where they have to spend money and then they have to make sure that everything is accounted for. So if you are one of those people in a position to where you spend a little bit more than the average individual, tracking your expenses is extremely important, because those small things that you buy, they add up, and it gets everybody. It gets me. But because I already don't spend a lot, I just choose not to spend on certain miscellaneous things. I have my main expenses, but I know those. So whenever I am tracking my expenses, it's pretty straightforward. It's right there. And I do have a few things in my life to where things just work out. So I don't have to spend on certain things that average individuals would have to spend on. So of course, whatever your financial situation is, you do your due diligence as far as your financial situation, and make sure that you're in a position where you know exactly what you're spending your money on. There's many apps out there and things like that that can help you out as far as you trying to keep up with all of your expenses. There's really no real excuses. Of course, you could just say you don't want to do it. And if that's you, then okay, then it don't work out for you. Some people they don't want to crunch numbers all day because they already have something that's taking majority of their day. And I understand understand that too. But if you want to get to a point where you're debt free or you're getting closer to your financial goals, you do have to do these things. And this is why they make it a little bit difficult, because everybody can't be the top 0.01% of people. So if you want to be one of those individuals, you have to do these things in the beginning. And realistically, not even in the beginning, even when you're at the top, you got to do it even more then, because it's harder to track those expenses when you're spending such a large amount on investments here and there, and then you have other people involved in your money. So all the things that I'm saying in this video are habits that you're going to have to take all the way through your financial journey. So with that being said, if you could subscribe to the channel, like the video, I would greatly appreciate it. I have some things in the link. If y'all could check that out, it helps the channel out tremendously. But I'll see y'all on the next one.